Are you ready?
Ready to rock.
All right, fantastic. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the John Peckman podcast. John is a little bit under the weather tonight, so I'm going to be your host for tonight. My name is Dave Kosminski, and with us in the studio is our newest member of the faculty of Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance, Mr. Adam Gonzalez. So, Adam, how are you, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing all right.
Fantastic. Well, hey, we finally get you in here on the podcast. That's great. Fantastic. So, anyway, you're basically just moved into town.
Yeah, definitely. Very new to living here in Connecticut.
Nice. Well, I know you still have Massachusetts plates in your car and so forth. All right.
I went to the RMV today.
The DMV.
Oh, yeah. Is that Massachusetts? Yeah. I got to get that figured out.
Fantastic. So anyway, tell us, how did you get into the music business?
Well, music has always been around me growing up. My father was a player. He still does local gigs all over the city of Chicago, suburbs.
Okay.
He's definitely a jobber.
Okay.
So I definitely think that influenced me. When I got a little older, good buddies of mine, we just played guitar together, and
Okay.
So it's always just kind of been in the background, the guitar. And when I wanted to get serious about pursuing an education and taking music to another level, that's when I discovered the Berklee College and made the move out from Illinois to Mass.
Okay, so you're originally from Chicago area?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So growing up, what high school did you go to in Chicago?
It was a college, Catholic prep school, all boys.
All boys. Nice.
St. Rita High School. Yeah, they're definitely they're doing a lot of interesting things over there still. Very good school. And
now, were there nuns there, or there?
No,
or were they all lay teachers?
We didn't have the nuns, but it was definitely Catholic, church oriented.
Okay.
So I don't know. It was definitely appropriate for getting me on the right path. It definitely helped with setting goals and kind of being able to really finish what I start. I definitely attribute a lot of my work ethic to going to that school.
Yeah. Well, I grew up here in town. In fact, I went to St. Mary's School, which is right up the street from your house.
God.
Okay, that's where I graduated. I went basically grammar school, kindergarten through 8th grade, and then from 8th grade I went to Portland High School.
So you know what I'm talking about then.
Oh, I know exactly. That's why I'm saying. I says, we had when I was in school, we had there were all nuns as teachers except for 5th grade. And 5th grade we had Mrs. Costello and so forth. But we had all nuns, and after I graduated, and then they started getting more lay teachers.
Definitely brings to mind the Blues Brothers. See, I don't know if you're familiar with that one.
Exactly.
Classic.
Yeah, exactly. So, when did you move from Chicago? Obviously, when you wanted to go to Berklee.
Yeah, I was. I had done a little bit of bouncing around after school and trying to get it figured out. But I was about 21 or 22 before I made my way over to the Berklee School.
Okay.
And I think it was appropriate actually. When I got there, I've had classes, with guys fresh out of high school, and they were, they were all over the place. They were pretty goofy and just, excited to be out and about. So I had already done a little bit of that, and it was time to just,
settle down,
get focused on my instrument.
Yeah. Berklee College. Yeah. My son. I think I told you my son graduated from Berklee College.
Yeah.
And so forth. So he went. He was a percussionist. And went there 4 years, and then basically got recruited out of there to go in the Army.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he spent 8 years active as an Army bandsman.
Wow.
So, touring all over Europe, Belgium, Amsterdam, And then he spent a year in Iraq, and then came back to the States and was down at Fort Huachuca.
Wow.
Down in Arizona. So he's still playing. He's still in the reserves.
Yeah, it's it was definitely a bit of not like culture shock, but it was really eye-opening to just meet people from all over the globe, because I didn't really have that type of connection in Illinois. I was meeting people, from different countries.
Oh God, yeah.
A lot of different players, from all over the states. So it was cool and really eye-opening, and it just really made for a good environment of collabing, and people just wanted exposure to a lot of things that you just weren't really
absolutely
clued into.
Berkeley, I mean, that's the music mecca up there, and there's a lot of heavy players up there, a lot of heavy faculty members. Who did you study with when you were there?
So
now, did you go in as an instrumental major, or did you went into as music production?
So actually I focused on business. I thought it was going to be performance, but then I kind of wanted to get more of a business side of what's going on behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So through that, I got into kind of away from guitar and more into music technology and recording, and I mean the guitar, it was definitely my reason to pursue music.
Yep.
But when I was there, I was just kind of like exposed to, actually, I mean, it kind of speaks to the times, that iTunes and Apple iPod, that stuff was like brand new.
Yeah.
So there wasn't just streaming and Bluetooth. It wasn't as common the way it is now. So it was almost like a musical renaissance happening, that I was, learning from these professors, are saying like, look, the stuff that you guys have right now on your computer, it's incredibly powerful versus having to put a session on hold because you ran out of tape.
Yes.
So it was definitely a cool time to be there, but again, I feel like I got a lot thrown at me at once, and it wasn't even until maybe a few years after, when my Berkeley program ended, that I realized, well, look, at the end of the day, I really, really just want to make my own music, and having the project studio at home and knowing how to run my DAW and record is just that was kind of what took precedence. So
sure.
I don't want to say that I steered away from guitar. I was just saying that it was like, I was really gung-ho about guitar and performance going to Berkeley, but while I was there, then things kind of changed.
Yeah. Now, what type of music were you into on guitar? The genre of music did you get into?
Mostly psychedelic rock.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely, bands like Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin.
Okay.
Prior to going in. Then I got into this jam band Mo from Albany, New York, and they definitely kind of fueled my inspiration, I guess. It was just unique to see a band with kind of like grassroots type following. You could see these guys come to town and they'd play a 2,000 seater arena, and sell it out, but you're like, you ask anyone in the street or whoever, like, hey, check out this band Mo, like, people are like, who? Like, what are you talking about?
What was the instrumentation in the band?
So that is 2 guitars, drums, percussion, and bass.
Okay. And
I want to say probably 4 out of the 5 players sing. So they got a nice mix, and they write a lot of new stuff. So over the years, they've definitely managed to keep it fresh, and they're really savvy with knowing their audience, and I guess, like I said, just being inspired by how they're able to be aware of what their audience wants and kind of cater to them. I was like, oh, it's definitely possible to like, you know, have a career in music, you know, whether it's performance or
Sure.
you know, other aspects of it.
So now, did your musical taste in music change once you got onto the production side, or you know?
Yeah. So that is also split with my upbringing in Chicago, because I was listening at the same time. So, well, actually, just before I left for Boston, I had discovered this type of electronic dance music.
Okay.
This is underground music that is pretty common in Chicago. You don't really hear it outside of Chicago. It's a very specific sound.
Okay.
And, you know, I discovered that, you know, I mean, I was lucky enough to get that exposure before Boston. So when I came out to the Berkeley College and I would ask people if, you know, what they know about, I'm asking my guitar teachers about, you know, underground, you know, house music, and they didn't really have like a lot of insight for me. And it was kind of few and far between, like I was saying, about having that kind of global approach, because there's a whole history of this underground type of electronic music that it kind of culminated in like the early like 2000, like
Okay.
the turn of the millennium.
Was that considered more electronica? Is that the term used?
Well, yeah, maybe. I mean, this stuff has roots, you know, dating back to the to like the mid 70s. You know,
Okay.
these, you know, the disco era itself, and how it just kind of evolved, and Chicago just had a prominent place in it. So I was just lucky enough to, you know, grow up in Chicago, and my sister, you know, she's 3 years older than me. It was through her and, you know, her friends, and I was exposed to it. So when I came out to Boston and I realized, I'm like, oh, I can't just go like hear some of this house music that I was really starting to like, you know, in Chicago, or even find, you know, people to talk about it. I would get really excited, you know, to meet, you know, a lot of the people that did know about it were, you know, from people from like other countries, or
Really?
yeah, other older students that I was like, oh, like you like house music? I like house music.
Okay.
So that when I realized that that was a big part of what I wanted to do, I also realized that guitar has a very minimal role in that type of music as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess I just wanted to, at the end of the day, you know, learn how and what those sounds were about. I'm realizing the guitar doesn't really make those sounds, and you know, now it's even cooler because I feel like there's so much newer like guitar technology that
Sure.
I don't know, it'll give you that those types of sounds if you kind of get creative.
Okay. Now, when you were studying guitar, who did you study with up there?
Oh, so I was primarily studying with a microtonal avant-garde blues slide blues player, David Tronzo.
Okay.
He's based in upstate like New Hampshire, but he does the trek to the Berkeley
Boston.
College.
Wow.
Yeah, and yeah, the guy. Another band that I was influenced by at the time was more of an improvisational jazz trio, Medeski, Martin, and Wood.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
These guys, organ, drums, and
Yeah.
bass.
Yeah.
So when I found out that he was kind of, you know, part of their inner circle, you know, this jazz fusion, I was like, oh man, there's
Yeah.
no one else I want to be involved with
Yeah.
at Berkeley right now other than this guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was definitely. I mean, I studied with Jim Kelly.
Okay. So when I was I studied there for a year, and I studied with Bill Levitt, who was back at the time he was the head of the guitar department.
He writes the Berkeley
he writes
press
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he definitely probably got you in gear.
I'm more of a jazzer, you know, from that side. So
yeah.
I mean, that was, you know,
actually, and I had no idea at the time, you know, that like Mick Goodrick and Larry Bayonne.
okay.
These are, you know, the upper, echelon of the Berkeley staff, and
there's some heavy players
coming to just see those guys how they approach the guitar. I was like, man, this is I might be in over my head, or maybe my goals aren't as realistic as I thought, but they definitely broke it down. They definitely reassured me that it's not just like an overnight thing.
Exactly.
Approach
especially with
jazz
with a lot of the international people that come over there and so forth that are involved in the school. What type of international music did you experience up there from players that come from abroad? I mean, were they into that fusion type stuff, or were they into more ethnic or?
It actually it was my roommate at the time who he was involved with like African drumming he took a trip out to Ghana, and he was out there for 2 weeks studying different rhythms. So it was him that he really kind of got me outside of like this 4/4 type bubble, and was like, look, the rhythms in 7/4 and 5/4 are cool. Stuff in 6/8. And I was just like, well, how do you count, or how do you feel that? Because I was just I don't think I would have really gotten exposure to that kind of stuff.
Wow.
But I'm grateful for that.
Nice. Well, going from international music to the electronic and so forth, and you said what kind of jam bands were you into?
Well, like aside from Mo as the main one, I mean, I guess Medeski, Martin, and Wood, you can throw them in there. They kind of have this grassroots following, but Fish from Vermont, and I don't know, the String Cheese Incident, was another. They're from Colorado.
Okay.
Another guy. Actually, a big inspiration was this guy. He's from Virginia area. He does like live acoustic looping.
Oh, really?
And he kind of builds up his own little jams and loops in real time with bass and different guitars. His name is Keller Williams.
Okay.
And he was definitely a big inspiration. I definitely wanted to play acoustic guitar like him. He's got his own little sound and niche, and I think when I realized not so much the level of complexity, but just kind of the sounds that you can get with live looping, and with my exposure to wanting to do the dance music, that's definitely when I kind of got more into production. I just I realized that there was a lot of gear involved with the live looping, and to really kind of get it right, you got to have everything kind of situated appropriately, versus you could open up your software and the computer, and you can kind of just have at it. Everything's there for you to loop and record.
Well, you got all the puzzle pieces that put together there, and it's just a matter of utilizing them and putting them all together.
Yeah. I mean, and that being said, I feel like there's a lot of tools now that we have that were, again, like brand new, in the early, 2000s, 2010s. Some of these, MIDI machines and drum programmers, they weren't around prior. And now, you hook up one of these controllers and you run the software in your laptop, and you got your live drums, programming for days.
I as far as drum machines, I've got a vintage Roland 909.
Oh my God!
And
that's like the king. That's like the Lamborghini of drum machines.
Well, which now looking back, the advantage of that the 909 is basically for every output you had an individual sound output for every individual sound, which was cool. Most of the like the Quai drum machines and so forth, you got a mix
one stereo
out, and that was it. But I'll have to show you. I got it downstairs.
Wow,
that's
great,
and it's killer. It really is. The sounds. I mean, obviously now there are better sounds out there, but back in the
Yeah.
day, I mean, but it's still one of the revered, machines out there.
Yeah, no, that hang on to that forever. That's great.
It's a keeper, definitely is. And back in the day, I mean, I played in wedding bands and dance bands for years and so forth. And there was a time we used, obviously as live music began to migrate and so forth,
Yes.
a lot of times you couldn't. We normally went out as a 6-piece band, and then as budgets started, and all of a sudden it was a 4-piece band. Then I went out as a duo, and but the 909, that was an integral part of the duo. I had 2 drum machines up there, a keyboard, myself on guitar, and
Yeah.
you could do some loops. And the nice thing about it, we had the whole thing, and through the MIDI you can control lights, you control everything, from that.
Wow.
It was
Yeah.
it was kind of cool, but But that that 909 that was a cornerstone of the sound.
Well, I mean, I almost, you could almost say that that's like the cornerstone of the sound that I was hearing in Chicago. All that stuff in the 80s, and they were basing their entire tracks just around. I mean, I don't want to say simple rhythms, but I mean, they just let those things go so they can. Plug in the 16 steps or whatever it was and let it roll, and that way they can riff on with whatever synth they had, or
exactly
throw the vocals on top, and that was definitely like you said, a cornerstone of the whole roots of the sound. So that's great.
What was the early software that you utilized when you first got to Berkeley?
Let me think. Reason, actually.
Okay.
Reason was the first one, and I didn't like it. I struggled to get it
pretty high learning curve.
What I wanted. Yeah. And I had a instructor too. And he'd say, "Hey, call out a sound. What sound do you want to hear?" And fretless bass. And he's like, okay. And then he's like, just pull this up and turn this and to that and shape the sound, and you got an envelope here and all these terms, and before you know it, we're hearing it. But I was just like, man. Then I go home and even the class is over and I'm trying to do it back in my house. I was like, wait a minute,
yeah,
I can't do any of that. It's just not register.
Well, I mean, you had a lot of the out of the box programs like what is it? Not Jam Band, but
the Black Box.
Yeah, no,
it was for musicians.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I just remember earlier on there was like this. I think it was called the Black Box, and it was just something that you can kind of produce on. But I don't really know the features that it offered. I just, again, I think it was something
it was GarageBand, I think.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I think something like that came along, and then it was people like, I'm not messing with this Black Box. I got GarageBand.
Yeah,
it's way easier.
A lot easier learning curve too.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to go from there. But when you got you're obviously you're familiar with GarageBand.
So yeah, I got GarageBand earlier, like when I was there, but at Berkeley when I started, I had GarageBand, I had Reason, and everyone that I was meeting they were all knocking GarageBand, like oh, I got Reason, like why would you even mess with that, or Logic 2 was
that was another one.
That was another one that it wasn't the layout of it was way more primitive back then than it is now, and someone was like, well, why would I even mess with GarageBand? I have Logic, it does this, it does that. I have Reason, it's way more this or that, and not really knowing at the time, once the program was over and I was looking back and I was like, man, GarageBand does a lot of stuff for what it offers, and it's just the fact that it comes with a new MacBook. I mean, fire it up and you can make some real music with that. So I definitely don't need other people's opinions influencing how you make what you're making.
Now, when did Cubase come on the scene?
Cubase is actually kind of predates all those. I I didn't get Cube. I have it. I didn't get that one till I was much more comfortable. A good probably 10 years once I was done with my program. I was comfortable with a lot of the other popular workstations. Then I got Cubase, but that one's been around from the beginning. Probably you could have got that in like the late 90s.
Is that right?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm not certain, but it's been around for a long time, and it offers the full scope. You can get, and I mean, if you can't get it done in there, you probably don't really know what you're doing.
Right. Now, for the most part, music production software, is that pretty much more Apple based than PC based?
That's a tough question.
I mean, PCs have come a long way, but back in the day, I mean,
there's something a bit streamlined with Apple and music making stuff. That was just what I gathered early on in my career at starting the Berkeley School. They're just like, yeah, if you got yourself an Apple, a MacBook, this music stuff, the music related, stuff you're plugging into it, USB or whatever, MIDI controllers.
Yeah.
It's just going to see it and it's just going to work,
Okay.
That was the overall consensus at the time. So when I got, it wasn't until I got outside of Berkeley that I kind of, because I had Windows, before Berkeley, but they almost like required, they were like, you sign up for the Berkeley School, you're gonna get this Apple MacBook, right. And I guess it was just their way of putting everyone on the same page.
Yeah.
So like, I had a homework assignment due. I was working on my Windows. People like, no, you are required to have this Apple. We know what you have. Like, no excuses.
Well, most of the labs up there were all Mac based.
Yeah. So I mean, I was living in this Mac bubble, and it wasn't until I got outside, after the school, when I kind of went back to using Windows and stuff, when I was like, oh well, Windows is definitely cool. There's definitely certain programs work just as well, but I don't know. I guess maybe there's a few more sticking points with I don't know, trying to get audio routed I don't know, in certain ways, but it's really kind of just what you're comfortable with, and I don't think there's many things that Windows can't do that MacBooks can do.
Sure.
I think it's maybe just kind of an ease of use if you're just something
well, it
you're
depends
comfortable
what
with.
you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Obviously, doing posts on our podcasts. Okay, we use Premiere Pro, which integrates both the video and the music and all that kind of stuff. That because I'm basically recording on a podcast, a Rodecaster Pro, and then we integrate the video and so forth with that. But we utilize that through.
Yeah, nice. Actually, I'm excited to check that out. I mean, nowadays, it's like the video is just as important as the audio. I don't know, like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, for podcasting or something like that, if it's on YouTube, people will like watch it, even though we're just talking and having a conversation.
Well,
it's like a radio kind of thing.
Yeah.
You just listen to it.
Yeah.
But if there's a visual, like, they'll like watch it.
Yeah, well, then that's the thing. I mean, we use both audio. I mean, we're up on Spotify, we're up on iTunes, we're up on,
Yeah, you have to. You got to have the both.
You got to be up there. But we also record on Anchor. Anchor is basically an audio as far as that goes. But, to get it out there, it's just a matter of, putting it out there and using the RSS feed to, getting it out there to all of the venues as far as that. Sure. Because I know a lot of times you get to a situation and obviously Mac is, they've come a long way too, with their power and the machines. We have one of the machines that we use to edit this is a Mac M2, which is I think a 12 core processor and so forth.
One of the things that kind of like an inadvertent side effect to making music was kind of like making me like a my own kind of tech support too. I got really kind of versed in like computer world.
Yeah.
I wasn't too computer savvy going in, but then coming out, I was just like, okay, if I don't get this going, I'm gonna lose X amounts of years worth of work or whatever. So it just because I wanted to have my storage and have my backups, it was kind of forced me to like computer maintenance.
So the music that you produce, pretty much is original music.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, because what we can do is we'll take your flash drive and I can see if we can input that into in post. We
Yeah.
can see if we
Oh,
can get that,
sure. Yeah. I brought in a track that I had worked on, probably like last year, and it was definitely one of the tracks I was happier with, and I've done other stuff since then, but I just was feeling like this one is worth the share.
Okay, well, we're 30 minutes in now, so let's put a pin in that 30-minute time slot. Okay,
yeah.
And what I'll do is we'll see if we can insert that track at 30 minutes.
Okay. Okay.
And go from there. So talk a little bit about the clip, on how you laid it out.
So this one was actually, this is a session in Ableton Live, and I just wanted something. A buddy of mine, I think, he sent me out. At the time, he sent me out something that he did. And I thought, oh, well, I don't have anything I'm too happy with that I want to share with him. So I was like, let me just make a track right now from scratch. I want to give him something that I'm proud of. So I whipped it together in like I don't know, 2-3 hours. But then, I mean, again, like more so just the arrangement. You got your drums, bass, and then maybe a handful of 2 or 3 synthesizers, a few little sound effects in there, and then the vocals. I ripped them off of a YouTube acapella. Someone was just singing on there on YouTube, and I just kind of chopped up the parts I needed. Again, because I was just alone and I wanted to get something out, and I didn't want to sing on it.
Okay.
So the vocals were clean enough, and like I said, they were an a cappella version. So I was able to just extract those and process them a little bit, and you'll hear. I take an organ solo in there, so that's all programmed. I played it live with MIDI, but I programmed it for that organ Hammond type of sound. So
what kind of keyboard did you play that
on? No, this is just a MIDI. It's like a synth. It's a little Roland. It's a little 2-octave keyboard.
Okay. All right, well that works.
I don't have the space for anything bigger, honestly, and. If it sounds a little wonky, it's just I'm a guitar player. I'm not a Hammond player.
You mean you don't have room in your house for a B3?
No, but my computer does.
There you go. It's like the spaghetti sauce. It's in there. It's in there. Nice.
Oh yeah, I love it, man. These plugins. They look great and they sound great and they don't take up any space in my house. I have enough guitar stuff taking up space in my house.
Okay.
So
what kind of guitars do you have?
I have a Fender Strat. I have that's an American.
Okay.
It's an Eric Johnson Strat.
Ooh, okay.
I have a Mexican Tele.
Okay. I
have a Ibanez AS200.
Okay.
You familiar with that one?
That's a shredder.
I got that guitar. That was my first real expensive guitar.
Okay.
I was in Boston well after Berkeley, and after I was doing my recording projects, and kind of after all of that learning experience and project studio, the wave kind of crashed back and everything had kind of subsided. I was like, I'd been working too for a while, so I had some loot saved, and I thought now is the time to get something real nice. And the goal was to get a 335.
ES 335.
Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah. I wanted the one from Back to the Future when he's doing Johnny Be Good.
Yep.
That was initially what I had wanted, and I'm glad I was picky about it too, because I don't know. I feel like after looking around in different stores and playing around, it took me over a year to come across a guitar, the Ibanez. But what I was saying is that I really wanted it to just have certain features. I wanted inlays, I wanted the color, I wanted all the extras, because I was like, I'm gonna spend this kind of money on an instrument.
Get what you want.
Yeah. So and then after having a bit of, not trouble, but I was just kind of really struggling to find the one. I was like, let me go back to the Berkeley campus, and maybe I'll, they're posting flyers, or they always have, gear in the guitar department. And I bumped into an old professor of mine, and she said, Robin Stone is her name.
Okay.
Shout
out to Robin Stone.
Yeah. She said that, you might want to go talk to, this other guy. He's selling a semi-hollow. And I thought, okay. And when I saw it and I realized it was the AS200, I was like, that's John Scofield's guitar.
Yep.
I mean, the thing is just immaculate. The thing is as old as I am.
Yeah.
83, made in Japan.
Yeah.
All original.
Yeah.
And he he was, I think he was in a lesson with a student or something, and I just kind of I tapped on his door like, hey, can I talk to you for a second? And, you're selling a guitar? And he was like looked at me kind of funny, but then he's like, hold on, it's like told the student, hold on, let me talk to this guy.
I got a sale happening here.
Yeah. So then he set me. He's like, yeah, hang tight. And he set me up in a different room with an amp, and he's like, here, he let me play the thing right then and there.
Test drive it.
Yeah. So I was just like, oh man, I had the butterflies in my stomach. I'm playing it, and it felt great and sounded really nice. And yeah, and then maybe he came in 10 minutes later. He's like, all right, what do you think? And enough time. And so then I thought we'll be in touch. I just let me think about it. And I don't know what he was asking. I didn't give him what he was asking, but I think a week later, I hit him up with an offer like, hey,
he took it.
Yeah, I can't do what you're asking, but how about this? And we negotiated. Yeah, we came up with something reasonable, and so that's how I got my first guitar. I probably spent like a good $1,500 on it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Maybe
a little more.
When you were at Berkeley, what was a music store across the street? Was it Sam Ash or Guitar Center?
It was Daddy's Junkie Music.
Oh, yes. Okay. Daddy. That's right. I remember that.
It was Dad, and it might have became Sam Ash, and then it might have became Guitar Center.
Yeah, I know. When my son, I think it was Sam Ash, but because 150 Mass Ave, that was
it was Daddy's Junkie, and it might have become Guitar Center, and then Sam Ash, or vice versa.
Yeah.
But it was like all three of those stores.
Yeah. Well, Daddy's Junkie, they're originally based in New Hampshire, I believe. Okay, but they had 12 stores, and I think they had a store in West Hartford, which is no longer there. And I think that the store has gone out of business. But Daddy's Junkie Music, yeah.
That store, I don't think it was too long lived while I was there. It might have been in like my second year there or something when it was turning over.
You used to go downstairs. They had the downstairs door. Yeah.
Well, and then at that time as well, I didn't have any money, so I had never really got to take advantage of getting any gear.
Yeah.
I think I can attribute that to my dad actually, which is like I said, as him being a professional jobber out there in the Chicago burbs. He always gave me what I needed. He's just like, look, you don't know how to play guitar. You don't know anything about guitar. Here's a guitar. It'll work for you.
Yeah, there you go.
You don't need an amp. Use this old amp. You don't know anything about an amp anyway.
Nice.
So, early on, I got, he gave me an acoustic. He gave me an electric. He gave me an amp and, a tube amp. But again, he's just like, you don't need he gave me a cable to connect the guitar to the amp.
All the necessities.
He really steered me away from getting anything because he knew I couldn't play. And I always was grateful for that when I did learn how to play, because I was like, man, I don't really, in all honesty, I got that when I got my Stratocaster. The guitar that he gave me, the electric, was like a parts caster type looking thing. And I only sold it like 2 or 3 years ago. I sold it, and I rolled that money over for the Eric Johnson.
Nice. So when you were in Boston, did you have a job while you were in Boston?
Yes, it wasn't music related. My first job in Boston had nothing to do with music. I was working at a hotel as a general groundskeeper.
Okay, all right.
But it was enough to let me stay there and pay my rent and eat. I didn't really get my first job in music until the House of Blues opened up over there.
Oh, okay.
On Lansdowne Street.
Yeah.
And
that's right
across from the ballpark. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
exactly where I wanted to be at that time.
Oh, that was the mecca. all my money went to Boston. My son went to Berkeley. My daughter went to
Sheesh.
well, she went to Wheelock College, which is part of the Fen 5. Then she went to BU for her post grad and so forth. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you're not doing school, I don't know why you'd be there. Other reason to be there, really.
Well, I mean, the college population balloons tenfold, during school. Between all
exactly.
the college, you got the Fenway, the Fen 5, which is you got Wheelock, Emerson, Mass College of Pharmacy. You got Berkeley. You got Northeastern. Yeah, all the schools are up there.
Yeah.
As far as that, yeah.
I had no idea. I just I went up there and I thought Berkeley was like the reason to be there.
Well, it was. I mean, that's like I say, that's the music mecca. I mean, you go up there and the players that are up there, and there's some heavy people up there. My kids study with Mike Mangini, who plays with Dream Theater, and and so forth. And he struck the one that studies with. Oh God, I can't think of his name, but he was the drummer in Dixie Dregs. But yeah, there are a lot of heavy people there. A lot of heavy people. So, did you do much gigging while you were in Boston? As far as
I got into a few bands. I think one of the first bands I was in was like a reggae band, and they were just kind of buddies who needed a second guitar, and they had gigs lined up at Bill's Bar again on Lansdowne.
Oh yeah.
So it was just kind of nice to be doing chords in a group setting.
Yeah.
But definitely not like my ideal style of music.
Okay.
It wasn't really what I was looking for, but it was still a cool experience, and nice to, like I said, have my basic gear and be able to do the gig.
Sure. Well, getting back to again, having you join our faculty here, where you're going to offer some lessons in music production.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about what that's going to entail.
Ultimately, my hopes are to get some younger folks, people who don't know much about recording music. Mm-hmm. This is definitely going to be for the beginner who wants to get their demo together. If it's somebody who's into electronic music, that would be even more interesting. But of course, this is definitely for musicians of all kinds.
Okay.
Whether you're just you don't need to play an instrument. If you have a voice and you sing.
Okay.
If you're doing marching band, if you're doing blues, if you're doing polka, it does not matter. We can record your demo, and we would like to get it done in 4 weeks. My hopes are that we can get together for an hour a week.
Yep.
And
at the end of 4 weeks, we'll have a finished product.
At the end of 4 weeks, we'll have something you could share with your friends and family. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Well, speaking of polka, I mean, you from Chicago, I know quite a few polka bands that came from the Chicago area.
Yeah. Large Polish-Lithuanian community.
Yeah.
In Chicago, they have there.
I can remember playing with one up there. Well, we used to have polka festivals here in Connecticut, but one used to come from Chicago. They were called Chicago Push.
That's awesome.
And so forth. But their musicianship was quite talented.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I don't want it to seem like this was maybe something more for electronic based interest. It's I feel like a lot of these computer programs kind of cater to that because you got all your sounds in one place.
Sure.
But if you want to do your rock and your blues and your jazz and all your different styles, it's really just a matter of the creativity you have and you want to put down and a little bit of organization, and but before you know it, you got something that you're gonna have forever.
Now, were you familiar with the old Tascam studios, the 4-channel and all that kind of stuff?
I had one. It was a hand-me-down from my dad, and I remember messing around with it for about an hour, and I couldn't get anything going with it. And I took it to a buddy of mine who was a bit more advanced in the music side of things at that time. And we together messed around with it for an additional hour before I'll never forget. He looked up at me and he said, "I have been defeated." So in all honesty, I think the thing was broke.
Oh, okay. Well, I know they used to have. In fact, one of our guitar teachers here, Ed, had a 4-track, and so they used to be able to flop channels over and onto, and so forth.
Well, yeah, no, this thing was bigger than 4. It was. Probably like it had 8. It had all these like it was a layout of like circles and faders, and then there was a spot for your cassette there.
Okay.
So at the time, I don't know, like I said, it was probably the size of like a small pizza box. It was pretty big.
Nice.
And I definitely wanted to get it going, and I just could not do it. And when I took it to my buddy, he confirmed that the thing was probably just busted.
Well, like I said, the technology is moving all the time. So I mean, have you experienced any of the AI stuff in now music coming around?
So aside from hearing some of my cohorts like talk about it on social media, I have not delved into anything related to it. As far as I know, it's more so just something that you can get your sound to emulate. If you want to put together, a blues, rock song, and you want your vocals to sound like Jimi Hendrix, I guess that's kind of where the AI would come in, and it would just give you these like Jimi Hendrix sounding vocals stamped on your music. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just scratching the surface on what it could really do, but I haven't delved into what it's all about. I probably need to, as I don't want to get left behind.
Well, it's definitely causing a buzz in the industry. Not only from songwriters but also musicians and so forth that feel that it's hampering their creative ability.
Well, yeah. Again, I mean, like, why would I want my vocals to sound like Jimi Hendrix when I can just sing and you can record Adam Gonzalez vocals?
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know. Maybe that someone wants to do that.
For sure.
What would a modern day Jimi Hendrix, guitar song sound like?
Exactly. So, all right. Well, hey, we're getting down there. So I get some wrap-up questions that John always asks. Okay.
Yeah.
In his podcasts and so forth, and one of them is, do you remember the first concert that you ever take?
Oh God. Actually, I can't really forget the first concert.
Do tell.
I was taken to. I went with my best friend at the time, and my dad. He took the both of us to see Green Day.
Oh, okay.
And this was when Green Day was like they just released the new album Insomniac, the one after Dookie.
Okay.
So the Dookie one put them like on the map. They were like the Beatles. They were the biggest Beatles.
Yeah.
And then they were coming to my town. And I don't know. I think he probably didn't tell us we were going until like the day before.
Oh, wow.
And when I saw we had those tickets, it just blew my mind. And
Dookie wasn't that the album that Boulevard of Broken Dreams was on?
No, this is way before that.
Oh, really?
This is way before that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm saying, these guys this is like 1995 or 96.
Wow. Okay.
I think we were only in like 6th or 7th grade.
Wow.
So, like I said, to just be like in the presence of of something like that as it was like a new thing. I mean, that whole alternative grunge music was like, new.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like I came up at a really interesting time with music because growing up, my grade school classes, it was like you either like rock and grunge music,
Yeah.
or like hip hop and rap.
Okay.
And I mean, they both kind of like are musics that like started in the 80s.
Yep.
And really kind of culminated and plateaued in like the mid 90s.
Okay.
So I mean, they were just on this upward trajectory of,
Yeah.
like where's it gonna, like what's next? And so for us to be at that Green Day concert, it was kind of like they were at like the height of their career, and
oh yeah,
I mean they still play like major amphitheaters.
Yeah.
But again, they were only like they were just brand new, and they were at a sold out, probably 7,000 or 8,000 seater arena.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was just awesome. It was a great time.
Well, that's good. Okay, so the next thing, if you were stuck, these are the desert island questions. Okay, so if you're stuck on a desert island, okay,
Yeah.
what albums would you have to listen to?
Oh man, I get multiple How many albums do I get?
Give me 5.
Probably Asia by Steely Dan.
Okay.
Probably. Oh man, I want to make these good ones. Sublime, the Sublime album, the one with the tattoo on the guy's back.
Yeah.
Might have to look at my phone to see what else is in there. No.
While you're thinking on it, you mentioned the Asia album. Okay,
Yeah.
We had John had as a guest here Bernard Purdy who played on the Asia album.
The drums.
On drums.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he was right there in that chair. So.
Herbie Hancock, the Flood album.
Okay.
That's a double LP. It's the one where he does he basically it's a live version of the Headhunters, Chameleon, and all those really cool ones. It's a really good album.
Was that before or after the Return to Forever?
I'm not sure. Return to Forever. I'm not even familiar with that album.
Herbie Hancock?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that's the name of the album.
Moving along, probably.
Oh no, maybe that was Chick Corea. I'm sorry.
Yes.
You're right.
Yes.
Okay, you're right. All right. Sorry about that.
Man, I'm trying to think of another album. One that I would want to listen to over and over and over again. Probably. I got to pick one by Mo.
There you go.
The what is it? It's called Fat Boy.
Okay.
And probably I like I'm a big fan of synth pop, so probably gonna have to pick something like Peter Gabriel.
Okay.
That So album.
Sure. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Why not? All right. So desert island foods. If you got stuck on a desert island, what food could you eat every day?
Oh, I would have to go with tacos.
Tacos. Taco Tuesday.
Steak tacos, baby.
Hey, there you go. All right. Tacos and pizza are pretty high on the list. Those are frequent flyers on all of the answers that we ask as far as that goes. Fantastic. So, all right. Great. Anything else you want to touch on before we go?
I mean, I just feel like excited to be here, and I'm really interested in meeting the rest of your community here. Definitely hoping to form a band possibly with some players out here.
Sure.
Can use a bass player, use a drummer.
Well, there you go.
Form my own Medeski Martin and Wood.
Why not? Why not? Fantastic.
Yeah, and yeah, that's definitely something I'm looking forward to. Is getting you guys out to do the music production thing. I think it'll be a really cool thing.
Yeah, that'll be something new here at the offering here at the school, and I think we get you rolling here and get you into the community and get you a member of the faculty and go from there. So I appreciate it. Adam, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate it. All right.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this episode. We're going to get this. We're going to put your track in there at the 30-minute mark. But
yes,
ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this episode of the John Peckman Podcast. With us in the studio, he is here live, Mr. Adam Gonzalez, the newest member of our Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance faculty. So, Adam, thank you so much. Welcome, and we'll see you on the flip-flop. Thank you.
Yes,
and as John always says, that is all. If you'd like to start your own podcast, give us a call at Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance. Our professionally designed podcast space is here for all your recording needs. Rent out our studio to do interviews with up to 4 people, to record audiobooks, social media content, and all other recorded material. Our rentals include a private studio along with our professional-grade podcasting equipment, and we can customize your output to whatever your needs are. We also have green screen capabilities, which will expand to video capability if you so wish. So check us out here at ConnValley.net/podcast.